Oh hey there, so we're about a week into April, and naturally I thought that this would be the best time to show you guys what I enjoyed during March. Timely. You might remember that last month I didn't have any TV show or movie recommendations. Well, you'll be glad to hear that during March I did very little other than watching TV shows and movies, so I have plenty to share with you this time around. First up is a series called Dr. Thorne. It is on ITV. So if you're in the UK, you can watch that on ITV Player. There are only a couple of episodes. I thought it was going to be like a whole long series, and then I went to go watch the new episode last week and there wasn't one. So I was really sad about that, but Dr. Thorne is basically just like a period drama. I don't really know what else to say, but if you like shows set in like ye olde times, like you'll like this, go check it out. The second show is 13, and 13 is on BBC, and it's about this girl that went missing when she was 13 years old. Turns out, it's not really a spoiler because you find out in like the first minute of the show, she was being held captive in a basement for 13 years, and the show kind of follows what happens when she escapes from the basement, and like that's... If you're not interested in that, from just the fact she was kept in a basement for 13 years, like, I feel like you should be interested in that. Next up, I watched Amy, and Amy, if you don't know, is the Amy Winehouse documentary, and every time that I watch a documentary about Amy Winehouse, I just get so frustrated. Like, obviously it's really sad, but it's just so frustrating because every time you hear her speak about what she was planning for her next album, it just sounds like it was going to be so good, and like the more you find out about her as a person, the more you're just like, you were just such an interesting, normal person, you know what I mean? And like, it just watch it. Then I got into my documentaries, and if you've been around here for a while, you know that I love my documentaries, and if there's like a platform on which I can watch like hundreds of them at a time, I'm all over that. So having access to the ITV and Channel 4 and BBC documentaries, I watched a lot of documentaries in March. The ones that I would recommend that you check out are Britain's Medieval Vampires, because that was great. Albert and Elizabeth, which I just get really attached to stories about Albert, because in the King's Speech he's played by Colin Firth, and Colin Firth reminds me of my dad, and I don't know if that's like why I'm so attached to King George. That's who he became, right? I don't know, I wasn't born in this country, it's whatever. It's one of those docudramas where you've got actors playing the people, and normally those annoy me, but I really liked this one for some reason, and I don't actually know why. I also watched a series about Queen Victoria and the way she was with her children. What a bitch is all I have to say about Queen Victoria. She was properly nuts. But yeah, that was like an uncomfortable one where I was just like, I don't like you. But I did watch the whole series, yes. The last series that I'm going to recommend to you is like a slightly more light-hearted one. A lot of really dramatic things happen, but it's like a very self-aware show, and it's Jane the Virgin. And it's set kind of like in the style of a telenovela, so when the really dramatic things are happening, the show is really self-aware about like how ridiculous they are, and it's essentially just about this woman who has never had sex but gets pregnant because she accidentally gets artificially inseminated at a doctor's office. Side note, that is Fiona's actual nightmare, so I haven't told her about this show yet. Fiona, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry that I didn't put a trigger warning at the start. But yeah, it's a good show. I would recommend that you check that out as well. My next favorite is one that goes hand in hand with Jane the Virgin because I was playing it like the whole time I was watching that show, and that is Angry Birds. There was something going on, so I couldn't play my other two games, so I was like, fuck it, let's play Angry Birds. Now I'm back into Angry Birds, so happy 2009. My next favorite is my own Tumblr because it's fantastic. It is madzors.tumblr.com, and whenever I'm feeling stressed out, I just go and look at my own Tumblr and I'm like, this is the most aesthetically pleasing thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Side note, one thing that's not a favorite this month is the fact that people seem to think the word aesthetic means something that looks good. An aesthetic is it's just the way that something looks. So you could have a terrible aesthetic. You don't say, oh, you look really aesthetic today. Like that's not right. Stop that. This is not what this video is about. My next favorite is Oxford because I went there for a day just to hang out, and it was really, really pretty, and I took a lot of nice photos. So I will link a blog post down below that I did with photos from Oxford, and you can also see them on my Instagram. Wow, synergy, crazy, but I really did like Oxford, and I'm gonna go back soon because it's pretty close to Reading. Finally, I've got a favorite that I can show you, and that is tarot cards. Now, tarot cards are not a new love of my life. Been into them for a while, but just after we moved, Fiona and I weren't really in the right headspace to be using the tarot cards, but let me tell you, in March, I certainly was back in that headspace, and these have just absolutely been guiding me through life once more. So massive shout out to the occult, thank you tarot cards, massive favorite. This month, I've only got 2 makeup related favorites, and they kind of count as one, because they're both highlighting products that I put on before my foundation. I know, crazy. The first one is the Topshop Skin Glow, and I put this on all over my face after my moisturizer. And the second one is a L'Oreal Paris Lumi Magique. Yeah, with a QUE primer. This one I would not recommend putting all over your face because it is very luminescent. I just put this on my cheekbones. I let them kind of like sink in / dry for a second, and then I'll put my foundation over the top of that, and I've been really enjoying those this month. My candle favorite for this month was a surprise because this is from Tesco and it cost £1 and it smells freaking phenomenal. This is like the vanilla one. I'm almost done with it. It doesn't look very nice, does it? But it smells fantastic. Aqua Capture Serum from Boots. Looks like this. And I just put this on before I go to sleep if my skin is feeling really dry, because as we know, I've discovered the wonders of hydrating your skin, and this is really good. It's a moisturizer, but it feels kind of like very heavy water. Like it doesn't feel oily, but it doesn't feel light. You feel me? A big favorite of mine in March was Christmas music, because for some reason every year in March I get really into Christmas music, and I call it Chris March, and I change all the words to Cold December Night by Michael Bublé to Chris March. I also planned all of Madvent. So Madvent this year is going to be really good because I've already planned it, because I got really excited for Christmas the other day. I have 2 music favorites, the first of which is Whitney Houston, which I don't think I really need to explain because it's Whitney Houston, but I do probably need to apologize to Fiona because I was singing I Have Nothing for like 3 weeks straight. That's a very loud song. And my second music favorite is Little Mix, because I love Little Mix every month of the year, but in March, Fiona and I went to their concert at the O2 because I got us tickets for Fiona's birthday in September, and it was fantastic. My last random favorite of March is having a job, because life as an independent adult is a lot easier when you've got a job. First food favorite is stir fry, because I made so much stir fry in the month of March that it is insane. I also have really been enjoying meal prep in general, because I find that I'm very tired a lot of the time, and so if I've already made the food and I just have to heat it up, it's a lot easier to like not fade away to nothing. Instant coffee has become a necessity in my life, and I never thought that I would say that. Side note, whichever one of you recommended that I go to Artigiano's, is that how you, the one on the high street in Reading, good coffee, good recommendation, thank you. Yeah, I'm very picky about coffee, but I've reached a point in my life where I just can't afford to be anymore because I need to be awake to go to work. So I've been living off instant coffee. I bought this giant jar of it because I bought a smaller one and then I went through that in like a week. So we're working on this. Yeah, I like being awake. So in keeping with the theme of beverages, my favorite tea of the month was the Cleanse Tea from Pukka, and this is a radiant blend of organic nettle, fennel, and peppermint. So I'm into anything with peppermint, and it's got a green box, which means that it's really good for you. So, and my final favorite is brought to us by the same wonderful people as last month's cinnamon rolls, and it is pain au chocolat, and it is wonderful. This is an empty box, so there is no joy in my heart right now. But I'm sure that the joy will return after I've been to the supermarket. So that is everything that I could think of that I liked during March. As always, leave me comments please, because that is the only way that I can identify you as real sentient human beings and not just as numbers behind a screen. So leave me recommendations, tell me things that you liked this month. I don't really care what you comment. I just like it when you do. So You wouldn't want to break a poor little boy's heart, would you?